All right, how's it going? So I was thinking that it might be helpful if I kind of create the coffee shop site um, so you can see the flow, see kind of the thought process, see how to do it, and see that you can't forget JavaScript. JavaScript is going to be your bread and butter, especially going into the next the back end module, because React is front end UI. Caveat: there are some back end things, but I don't think you get to those. But for the most part, in the back end, it's just JavaScript. So you gotta love it. You gotta do it. So let's hop in here. So first thing we're gonna do, like always, we're gonna make this new repo. So I'm gonna call it coffee shop tutorial. Yeah, that'll work. I am going to make it public. I'm going to add a README. I'm not going to add a get ignore. I'm going to leave that alone, or a license. This is a change from what I used to do, because what I realized is that the get ignore was actually made on the outside of the React app, because when you make a React app with create React app, it gives you a get ignore. So you don't really need this on the outside folder. All right, cool. So we're going to hit create repository. All right, so we have a beautiful repository here, right? So now, if you're using GitHub Desktop, bring that up. If you're using command line, use GitHub Desktop instead. Just kidding, do what you want. All right, cool. So I'm gonna add clone repo. I'm gonna give it a little refresh. And then search for my coffee shop tutorial, which is right here. I could also just type in coffee shop. And click on it. Check out my path, make sure it's where I want it to go. Not in OneDrive, if you're ever using OneDrive. I'm on a Mac, but just in case. All right, hit clone. And now I have it, just have one branch, main branch, which is fine for now. Cool. So let's get a VS Code opened up here. And we're gonna go open and find it on my path, which is my documents, GitHub, coffee shop tutorial, open. Cool. So now we just have our coffee shop, just the README in there, which first, before we do anything else, we're going to think about what we want to do, right? So we're going to make a coffee shop app. It's going to be a React app. So we're going to need to install React. We are going to have multiple pages. So we're going to need React Router DOM for that. Router DOM. We are going to, we're not going to do the weather right now. We might do the weather. Might do the weather. Let's put might do weather, which means we would need the API. As far as the app itself, or the site itself goes, we know that we're going to want a home page. We're going to want a menu page. Yep. We're going to want a shopping cart, which we're going to do in a modal. Modal is the thing that pops up that you can, like hovers over your screen kind of thing. We're going to need a nav bar. And then maybe we'll do like an about us page. Maybe. Okay, we'll see. Okay, so thinking about this, if we split it up like these three, so let's do this. Let's take this one and put it up here. So these are pages, and then these guys are going to be components, right? So pages. And so if we were to do the weather thing, we would have like a weather component, and so on. So this is a kind of a thought process of how we're going to do it and what we're going to lay out. So yeah, I think this is good for now. We'll come in later and like think about the functionality of the pages and the components and what we want them to do. Okay, cool. So for now, let me get this guy out of here. Let's go ahead and we're going to open our terminal. So let's do an ls. Here we are. We're here. We just have the README. This is where we're going to do our create React app. So npx create React app. And then the name, I'm just going to give it the same name, we'll just do hyphens for funsies. Coffee shop tutorial. Okay, so we'll get this guy created. And there are other ways nowadays to do this. You can use Vite. You can just make a next app and just use the front end side of it. Tons of different ways. This is just fine as well. Get your app made, which is good. So we're gonna wait on that to get done. While we're waiting, let's go ahead and hop over to React Router DOM. So I'm gonna open the npm React Router DOM instead of the documentation, even though it's gonna take me straight to the documentation. But I just wanted to get this quick script here real quick. So I'm gonna copy that. And then we will go to their homepage as well, so we can start looking at how to actually do everything. And we'll look at the tutorial. So let's go back here. Let's see, okay, cool, we're done. So it's ls, so we need to cd into our coffee shop tutorial now. ls in here. Remember, if you're on a Windows, dir. I think unless you're in like PowerShell or something, I don't know. One of them you got a dir, one of them you can ls. So if you're on a Mac, ls. And ls just lists out the folders and files on the level you're at. So we know we're in our React app because we have our node modules and because we have our package JSON. Okay. All right. So in here, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. Do npm install React Router DOM. There you go. All right, cool. So now if we look in our coffee shop tutorial, we have our get ignore that I told you to give us, and we have package JSON, which now in our dependencies, you can see React Router DOM right there. Cool. All right, so at this point, let's go ahead and start and make our components folder within our source folder here. So just click on there. We're gonna have components, lowercase. And we're also gonna make a pages folder. Oop, not within there, within our source folder. So a sibling of our components folder. Pages. All right, cool. And then let's go ahead and just make what we discussed in the README. We'll just go ahead and make these couple pages and these couple components and work from there. So in the components folder, we'll just add a file, and this is going to be, we're just going to call it cart.jsx. Remember, if you give it the JSX instead of just JS, then it allows you to do that, like quickly do the JSX parts of it, which I'll show you. So this is our cart, so we're going to do RFC for our cart component here. So it's going to do that for us. And if you don't have the RFC, then it's just this extension right here, the ES7 plus React Redux, blah, blah, blah. This guy. Just search for that guy. All right. All right, we got our cart. Let's make another one. It's going to be our nav bar. Oh, and we're also going to have a layout component, which we will use. Okay, so components, nav bar. Oops, sorry, these should be capitalized. I jacked up that one, didn't I? Nav bar.jsx. Okay, so I'm going to have to change the, I'm going to rename this guy to capital C cart and rename it here. And I'm going to have to kill it and come back, or it won't like me. So let's make sure it's saved, which it is, and we're going to X out. And then we're going to just open it again. If you have to change the name of a file, you got to do this because it isn't very happy if you don't. All right, open folder, documents, GitHub, coffee shop tutorial. Okay. Okay, I'm back in here, and I'm gonna ls my cd back into my coffee shop. Cool. Okay. All right, we got our cart, we got our nav bar. We're gonna get our weather and layout. So let's go weather, JSX, RC. Oh, the RC here, RFC. So that's just the nav bar. I didn't do that before I closed that. Weather, and then one more for our layout. Okay. All right, for our pages, we're gonna make home page, menu page, about us page. So let's go home.jsx, RC, and about us .jsx, RC, and menu page. We might do our menu on our home page. Or we might have a menu component. Okay, we'll add the page for now and we'll decide what we want to do with it later. Menu.jsx. All right, RFC. Okay, so our components are made, all our pages are made. So let's get our routing set up. So we're thinking we want to land on our home page at the slash route, and then from there we can click to the about us page, and then maybe to the menu page. Maybe. Okay. But first off, all right, let's look at our routing. 1 second. Oops. Okay, let me go to the documentation. All right, cool. So through here, it tells you kind of how to do it and all this jazz. But all we're really worried about is this stuff here. So when you get down here, adding a router, this is what we want. We're going to add this import into our app.js. So we're going to get rid of all this other stuff in here. Because in your app.js, you're not going to have any actual JSX or anything that's going to show on page. We're just going to do our router in here. All right, and then we're going to need to set up our router like so. And this is going to be before for our render in our elements. Actually, I think they're doing it. Oh, they're doing it in their main JSX, but that's fine. We can do it here. All right, so before we declare our function here, we're going to do it. So before our app. I'm going to fix that in a minute. But first or last, let's grab this router provider here. Okay. So we're going to get rid of everything in the return. And then we're just going to paste in that router provider right there. So this router provider is just a component, provider component that's made by React Router DOM. And just like any other component, you can pass props to it. So you're going to pass this router prop to it. And this router is coming from here, which you're just making an array, an array of objects that it's taking in. Cool. And if you want to get crazy, you can command click or control click into here. And this is the definition file. And this will tell you like everything that it actually does, like what it gets passed to and all this, the props that it can take and things like that. So it's very, very dense, but you can get in here and kind of see what makes it all work. All right, cool. So we got that. So now we just need to create our actual routes. So on our slash route, we want to go to our home component. So let's get rid of that and put home like so. And then we're gonna have to import that at the top. So import home, oops, trying to help me out there, from ./pages./home, because we're coming from the app.js into pages down to home, right? So we're going sibling, so the pages is a sibling of the app.js, and then into the pages to find home. Cool. All right, so then we can use this. So now, if we have this, we can, so let's run our app. So let's do npm start. And bam. So we're on the home route right there, home. And if we do anything else, it's going to give us an error, okay? But if we go just to our slash, we got our home right there, home. Sweet. Okay, so our router is working. We want to do our layout route is going to be, so in the layout route, it's like for your nav or for like an image or whatever you want to show on every page, and then whatever you show below everything, which may not make sense to the way I said it. But let's see. So if we want layout to be our nav, okay, so we're going to import our nav component here. Okay. Since nav is a sibling to layout, that's all we got to do for that. Is just oops, sorry, I went to the wrong one. Just do ./navbar because it's right next to it. Cool. Okay, so then we're going to show this in our layout. So navbar. Okay, and then with our layout, what we want to do is, let me open my other thing over here so I can see. Yes, okay, cool. So in our app.js X, first thing we got to do is adjust our create browser router. So we know at the ./, okay, we're going to show the layout component now instead of the home component, because again, the layout is what we're going to show on every page. It's like the layout of the site, if you think about it like that. And then it's going to take children. Okay. And so the children, it's going to be an array of other routes. And these routes are what's going to show below the layout, whatever you have in the layout. So in this case, we want our home route to show. So it's the same as this above, the path and the element. It's the exact same thing, just in a little object, which it is an object there as well. So if we do just nothing, so there's going to be the route that we're at, and then the element is home. Then now we should see the layout route, which again right now is just the nav bar above the home component, which is home. So if we go back to here, then enter. Okay, so we see our nav bar, but we don't see our home. Where did our home go? Let's see. Let me kill it and start it again, see if maybe that's why. Nope. So why is our home not showing up? Let's see. It's our home component. Go to our app.js. We got our home here. Element path. Okay, so that should. Let's see if we put a slash there, if that matters. Interesting. Oh, I know why. So yeah, so we missed our outlet. So in here, in your layout, you have to give it the outlet to show everything else, because literally all it's showing is navbar, because that's all we told it to show. So we're going to want to give it this guy, this outlet. We don't have a class here. And it needs to be surrounded by a parent, right? So if you have only siblings inside your return, it gets mad because it needs to have a single parent for all the JSX. So this is when we can use that little React fragment thing, like this. And then we'll just bring these guys in a little bit, like this. And so outlet is not defined because we have to bring it in from React Router DOM. So at the top here, we're going to import outlet from React Router DOM. I don't know if anybody remembers why this would be surrounded in curly brackets versus these. So let's see if we click into here, we can see that outlet, it says export declare function, okay? And then if you remember in our, where's my nav? In our components, we're doing export default function, okay? So if it's default, you don't need the curly brackets. You're just getting whatever the name is. If it is not default, if default is not in your export, then you have to surround it in curly brackets, like this, okay? Cool. Okay, so now our outlet is going to be anything that we give as a child to that layout component, okay? So in our app.js, oh, it's just JS, that's fine. So this is our layout, and then anything that's children is going to show up in the outlet, okay? So now if we go back, we see our home. Cool. Navbar home. So this is the layout component. This is the child of the layout component, which is home. All right, cool. So that covers that. That covers the router piece so far. We also did want a about us page. So we want our nav on there most likely. So let's just kind of copy this guy. So we can do Command Shift down, Option Shift down, one of those two, whichever the shortcut is. I'm using a Windows keyboard on a Mac machine. I'm breaking all the rules. All right, so this is going to be our about us component, and we're going to have this at /about us. Okay, so now we go back here. If we go to /about us, and we see that instead of home, right? Go back to the slash. Oop. We're back home. Cool. Okay. And then we did have the menu, which we'll figure out in a minute if we're going to do that or not. Yep, so we got our layout and we got our cart and everything. Okay, cool. All right, so as far as navigation right now goes, this is good. This is all we need for our routing, rather, not navigation. Cool. Okay, now let's go ahead and get us a nav bar going on. So I'm just going to grab some code. Okay, so I just pulled in some code from the other project. Basically, we have, I have two returns. That's why it's mad. Okay, so we can get rid of this return here. And then you can't console log after the return because that's your JSX, so you can put that above there. So all your JavaScripty stuff is going to be in between where you declare your function and the return. The return is only your JSX. Now you can do stuff in there like map through stuff, which we'll do, and stuff like that. But like if you're doing any data manipulation or any of that jazz, it's all going to be done up here. Okay, cool. So we know that the nav bar is eventually going to take in some props because we're going to want our cart modal to be showing what's in the cart. So we can do it two ways. We can just say props here. And this is, again, this is just a function. Remember, functional component's just a function. So it takes in arguments. It has parameters. So we can do this and we'll have props, and then we can access stuff like this. or we could destructure it. So if we knew that shopping cart was one of the props it was going to take, then we could just say shopping cart. Okay. And then we can just use that down there without the props on it, like that. Okay. But in this case, we're just going to do props just because. So, cool. And then we'll console log those after we get them, and we'll go from there. We're not ready for that yet, but we're just, since it's already there, we're going to do it. I'm just going to tab this in. So, oh, I got tabbed in. This one. Nope. Wait. Sorry, just nitpicky on the tabbing. Get that guy back. Okay, cool. Let's tab all this in too. Right there. Cool. All right, almost there. A little bit more tabbing. That div is good. Always tabbing. Okay, that's fine. All right, so what we have here, don't worry about the cart modal right now. For our nav, this is just a nav bar from Bootstrap. So you can just grab it and get it. And let me comment out this thing. And then FA shopping cart. And comment out that guy there. Cool. Okay, so if we go back to our code, prop is not defined. Where are you trying to use prop at? Okay, let's kill it and do it again. See if we get the same error. No. Okay. So we have our nav link here. Looks awesome, right? Yeah. No. So in order to use the Bootstrap for it, we have to bring in Bootstrap, right? Cool. So let's go to get Bootstrap. Cool. All right. So on here, a couple ways to bring it in. Easiest way, especially for React, is just to npm install it. So we're just going to copy that bad boy, go back to our code, kill our server, and just npm install Bootstrap. And then we'll have to bring it in to our index.js. So we're going to go find that guy. It's down here. And then right after this, we're just going to import these two files here, which are in your node modules now, after you npm installed it. And then, of course, on your package.json, you now see you have Bootstrap in your dependencies. Cool. So now we're going to have to start our server again. And when it gets ready, it's beautiful. Cool. So we have this nav bar here, right? Sweet. And remember, this is your layout component. Cool. So let's check our README. We installed React. Check. We installed React Router DOM. We're not going to work with the weather API right now. And we've made our nav bar component. And so let's go ahead and work on our home. I think we'll just show our menu on our home. That'll probably be the easiest thing to do. Actually, we'll have our menu on our menu component, but it will show on our home component. That's what we'll do. All right, so let's just get our fake data. Let's see where fake data is at. I don't think I had it in that guy. Hold on. Okay, so let's make a fake data just on our main deal here. Just make a file, fake data.js. And this is not JSX. This is just JS. It's just JavaScript. Nothing to do with React. This is just JavaScript. And we're going to put two arrays of objects that we're going to export. So then we can use them based on this name. So based on this name, we can use this one if we wanted to. Again, this is just JavaScript. This is not React. Okay. So we're just bringing in some data we can use. So we're going to want to bring that in to our menu component because that's where we want our menu to display. Yeah. So we can import that, and we're going to have to import it in our curly brackets. So fake menu items, like so. And we're not going to go find it. So if we're in our menu.jsx, we got to go up one page to get to pages, to get to here, right? And then we got to go up one more page to get to here. Okay, so that's why we got .. and then fake data, because we had to go up 2 folders. Okay, so we can do we can get this data from there. Okay, and again they're in curly brackets because if we go to our fake data, there's no default, right? We're just doing export const whatever. So this is the name we have to access it by. Okay. All right. So now on here, we now have access to these. So we can go ahead here and just console log them. Let's cancel log fake menu items. I always like to put a little label beforehand, just so I know what I'm looking at on the console. This can be whatever you want. It's just a string to tell you, hey, looky here, this is what this is. Okay, so this can be whatever, doesn't matter. Makes sense to name it what you're actually looking at, but it doesn't matter. It's not like mapping to anything. It's just for you to see, to go, oh, okay, here's what I'm looking at. So let's do the fake merch items. Okay, and then fake merch items. Okay, so now we're not using our menu component yet anywhere. So let's go ahead and go to our home, and let's go ahead and import it. Let's see if it'll import it for us here. So let's do menu. Cool. See how it auto imported it right there? Beautiful. And so we close it up. Again, it's mad because we don't have a parent for these 2 guys, so we'll give it the React fragment here. Done. Okay, so now, okay, so it's saying that the fake data should be within the source directory, and we put it outside the source directory. So let's go ahead and move that. So I'm going to grab this guy, move him into the source directory. And it's going to ask me if it wants auto import. I will say sure, thank you. All right. So now instead in our menu, we're only going up 1 row because we don't have to go all the way outside of source. Okay, that's a React thing. It likes the stuff to be accessible within the source folder. Very nice. All right. Now, if we go to our app, we should see, see our menu on our home now. And if we look at our console, we can see our fake menu items right there on our, I don't know what Hook.js is, but in our menu.jsx at position 5, or at line 5, that is what we have right here. Fake menu items, right? Right there, bam, cool. And then 6 has the fake merch items, which, did I log the same thing? I probably did. Oh yeah, I put fake menu. Okay, let's do fake merch items. And clear that. There we go, fake merch items. Cool. All right, so now we want to display them on the page. So I'm going to grab the menu code from my other project here. Menu. Did we make a menu items component? We did not. Okay, we do need a menu items component because that's where is actually going to show each menu item. So let's go to our components and we're going to add, it's going to be menu item .jsx, RFC. Okay. We're going to need to bring this into our menu. Okay, so let's go ahead and import it at the top. Or we can just try to auto import it down here. So we'll go menu item right there. Make sure we close it up. So it imported it for us right there. Again, it's mag says I'm a parent. Let's go to parent. Okay, now let's see. Yep, cool. So now we got the menu item in the menu, right? And the home. So parent, child, parent, child. Okay, cool. So now we need to get our menu item components. So I'm gonna grab this guy here. Copy this. So in our menu item, this is how we're actually gonna show each little card with the menu with the item on it. Okay. So we'll paste this, get rid of some of this stuff that we're not using. Okay. There we go. Okay. Cool. So here basically we have a card, bootstrap card, and we add a little bit of style, and we're showing. So it's going to take in props, right? Because we're going to give it the menu from the menu item prop as we loop through it. So I'll do a second. And once we get it, we're gonna have to update these to actually display the names that we give it. Cool. So back in our menu, this is where we're gonna loop through the fake data to display the menu item for each one. Okay. And so to do that, we are gonna have to do a map within our JSX. Okay. So for that, for anything you do in the JSX that is a variable, or you're bringing data in or anything like that, you got to, any JavaScripty thing you're doing, you have to do within curly brackets. You can't do if-else statements or anything like that in here. You would have to do those up here before the return, but we're just going to do map through it, just our fake menu items to start. So, and all map does is it just iterates through just a for loop, but it takes a function back, I think is how it's explained. It's a higher order function. So basically it's a way to loop through it and use what's in there without actually changing it. Okay, cool. So we're gonna do our fake menu items, and so we're gonna make some checks here to make sure that there's actually data to loop through, so we don't get an error. So first thing we do is to make sure it's there, like it's true, right? So make sure it's not null or undefined, or something like that. So we're gonna check that, and then also, since it's an array, we are gonna check the length of it to make sure that it's greater than 0. So make sure it's not an empty array, okay? This is a very common thing you'll do all the time. And then we're gonna use a little bit of a shortcut, but first off, this is a ternary operator. So we're gonna do the question mark. So whatever is, if these things are true, then whatever's in the question mark state, the question mark part will occur. If they are not true, if something in here is not true, then whatever is past the colon will happen, okay? So in this case, if it is true, then we want to loop through or map through our fake menu items, okay? If it is not true, then we're just gonna do null. We don't want anything to happen. All right, so a map, you have to give it an iterator, which is just like a temporary variable to hold each object in the iteration, in our case because it's an object. And it feels like a regular array. It could just be the index or something like that. So we're just going to say item, and then we're going to give it a fat arrow, and we're going to give it parenthesis here. This is kind of a trick. It always seemed to get me all the time. Since you're returning JSX in here, it has to be in a parenthesis because that means return in this case. It can't be like a normal one with curly brackets. Then you would have to actually write return with your parenthesis and put it in like that. So yeah, if you're mapping through, if you're looping through within the JSX, then you're going to do the parentheses instead of curly brackets. Okay. So cool. Got 2 of them there, 1 and 1. Cool. So now you can't do console logs in here either, so you don't really know. Like, you can't do console log item, but we can show the item. So in this case, we're going to bring our menu item up into there, and we're going to pass it. Our props is going to be the item, right? So let's just say item equals item. Okay. This is what you're going to access with the props. So props.item, and it's going to give you this value, okay? Which in this case is the first object in our fake data the first time, and then the second iteration, and then the third iteration, and then the fourth, and so on and so on and so on. Cool. So this should give us item to our menu items. Okay. So now if we console log props here, so let me say props in menu item. And again, there's just a tag you can give it to so you know what you're looking at. So now if I go over here and we'll do a little refresh, you can see it's already on the screen. Then you can see props in menu item is this item. So that's the first one. That's the first one again. I don't know why it's doing it twice. It's weird. Yeah. So there's the second one, and then so on and so on, right? And so you can see it's showing up on the screen here. Cool. All right. So props.item is our item, right? Because that's what we gave it, is props.item, or we gave it item, okay? And so that's the item object. So then when we want to display it, we do props.item and then dot whatever it is that we're looking for, right? So props.item.id, props.item.item, props.item.price, props.item.image. These are all, I think, alt image. Nope. These are what we're accessing because we're getting this object each time, right? Each one. Cool. So that's how we're getting this data in there. So props.item.item, props.item.price, props.item, we're passing there, so we're gonna do that in a minute. Okay, cool. So we got our menu displaying on the screen. It's super ugly, but it's there. Okay, so each one of these is a menu item. Cool. So now, let's see. So yeah, our home, our menu. We're going to do our cart shortly. You can style this if you want to. I'm not going to style it right now because it's more about just passing stuff around. Okay, let's make our links work real quick. So let's change our nav bar. Let's go back to our nav bar. And we have, right now, we've got our home link, which is going to hash or slash, which we don't want that. And it's in an A tag, so we're going to change this to a link. Excuse me. So a link is React Router DOM version, basically, of an href, or of an A tag. So we're going to get link from React Router DOM. And so we have it here. So we are going to, this is going to be our home. Home. And then in your link, you put a 2, and you put where it's going. So it's just going to be the slash for home, right? And then we can get rid of, actually I think we need to give the nav link to the link, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but again, I'm not too worried about styling. But so our nav link slash home, and then we want to make this one, we're going to do a link to our about us page. So slash about us. Okay. And then we'll put about us in here. All right. Okay. And then that should, those two should work now. Home is there. About us goes to about us. Home goes to home. Okay. They're ugly. They don't have the nav bar links, or the nav link in there. Maybe I can give it. Let's see if I give it to them. Nav link. Done. Let's see what that did. Okay, there we go. Cool. So now they look good. Sweet. All right. Coolio. So let's add a shopping cart link on there. So we'll just do it just like this guy. Actually, I have it right here. Instead of, oh yeah, so it won't be a link because we're not going to a different page. We're just going to open a modal, which we'll make shortly. But so instead of this, I was using the shopping cart icon. I'm just going to put shopping cart. And let's see how that looks. How does that look? Okay, it looks like but that's fine. Oh, all right. Got an error. Let's go back here. Wonder if we can give. Let's see if we give this a div. And then we give it a class name of nav link. Let's see if that makes it prettier. There we go. That looks good. Okay, cool. But that is not a link, right? So if you see the little finger comes up, little pointer over the links, this is not a link. So what this is going to do is it's going to open our modal. So let's go to our nav. Oh, we're in our nav. Okay, so in our nav we have right here our shopping cart modal, right? Whoa, unloaded there. Okay. So if you're doing a modal, it doesn't really matter where it is as far as on what page or whatever else, because it's going to be above everything else, and you trigger it to open by getting the ID on it. Okay, and so you use these databs toggle and databs target. These are what make the modal work, and this is Bootstrap, so that's what BS stands for. So if we look at our cart modal right now, there's nothing there. Cart.js. We have nothing here. So I'm going to grab my cart modal from over here. Okay. And I'm going to paste it in. Oh, hang on. Let me just grab the modal. Okay, paste it in there. So this is just a cart modal straight from Bootstrap, nothing fancy about it. Have put the title shopping cart in there. And then this is going to take in props that we're going to send it from our nav bar. And it is going to do pretty similar to, it's pretty much the exact same flow as the menu item to get that to display. But we don't need like the image and all that stuff. So basically, if the shopping cart is populated, which is going to be an array, which we'll deal with in a second. If it's there, and if it's greater than 0, its length is greater than 0, we're going to map through it, and for each cart item, we're just going to make a paragraph, which we're going to show the item and the price, and then if there's nothing there, we're going to say you have no items in your cart. And then we'll have a couple buttons at the bottom that don't do it. Well, the close dismisses because it says has the data.dismiss or data-dismiss. To go to checkout doesn't do anything. Okay, so right now, if we click on, the other thing, ID cart modal. So this is very important. This is the ID of this modal, which again is what in your nav bar right here is looking for. Okay, if those two don't match, your modal will not open. So this database target has to be hashtag whatever your ID is in your cart modal. Okay. Okay. All right. So what do I got? Cart modal is not fine. Okay. So I am bringing it into navbar here, but I have not imported it yet. So I need to import it. So import cart. And it is called cart, not cart modal on this one. So let me change that to cart. Okay. Cannot find. Oh, okay. So it did the lowercase c because I messed it up in the very beginning, remember? And it has a bad memory. So I need to uppercase that c. And then it's going to be mad about that for a minute. Let me see if I close it open again, if it'll fix itself. Oh, I wonder, is that... Okay, let's see, documents. Oh, nope. I want to try to open my whole GitHub folder. Okay. Copy sheet. Open. Okay, it's happy now. All right, cool. Okay. Let's go back to my copy shop. Oh, I tried to npm it. Hilarious. Okay, there we go. Okay. Now, click on shopping cart, our modal opens. Sweet, there's no items in our cart. Okay, oh, the close button doesn't work. I wonder why that is. Interesting. Okay. Let's see, let's go back to our cart. Right here. Data dismiss modal. Interesting. Okay, we can figure that out later. Cool. So our cart's showing. We don't have any items in it, so we're seeing this as opposed to actually seeing the items. So now what we got to think about is we want when we're in our menu, right? So this is our menu. When we click add to cart, we don't want an error. We want it to be added to our shopping cart, okay? And so then when we click on our shopping cart, we'll see the items that are added versus nothing. So if we think about this in our React way, our home is going to be our parent for both the nav bar and, well, for both. Wait. So okay, layout. So I guess layout. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So layout. Maybe. Hold on. How do we do it? Here. I did not have a layout component. Yeah, pages. So what I'm thinking about is how to get the data from, so when the button is clicked on add to cart, without an error, when the button is clicked, we need to take this and we need it to go from the cart. Nope, that's wrong. From the menu, we need to go from the menu item to the menu to the body, or to the home rather, sorry, to the home, It's tricky because navbar is only on in the layout. Oh, no, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, this will work. So instead of bringing in the cart in the nav bar, remember I said that it doesn't matter where this lives as long as the IDs match to open it. So we can take this out of here and we can put it in our home component, right? Because like it's not going to show up. There's nothing that's going to show up. Hold on, I got to import it though, of course. So let me just go back to my navbar, and I'm going to take this out of here, and I'm going to go to my home. I'm going to put it right there. Okay, and then props is not defined at our home. Oh, so it doesn't have this yet. Yeah, that's fine. So we're just gonna get rid of that for now. And then we should be not have what's kind of cart. In pages. Okay, so we're in our home route, but we're trying to import this from components, right? So that's why just copying it over didn't work. We're gonna have to go // components / cart. Okay, now it's happening. So now, okay, so nothing changed visually, even though home has the cart component, because the cart component is a modal. Okay, when we hit shopping cart, it's still gonna open up. But now we can take our state, or our click. So when our click occurs on our menu item, then it's going to send that data to our menu, which will then send that data to our home. So then we'll get it here, and then we can pass it to the cart via props, and then the cart can display. Okay? Cool. So since home is going to be our parent of everything, we're going to go ahead and make some state here. So we'll need to import use state. So for React, we'll go use state, like that. And then down here, we're going to do const, and then our array for our state. And we'll have, we'll call it shopping cart. Okay, and then set shopping cart. Okay. So again, this is the variable, the first one. The second one is the function that's going to set that variable. Okay. You gotta set it equal to use state so it knows what it's doing, and then give it a default value. If you leave it blank, it's going to be null. We're going to make it an empty array because we're going to want to put all the shopping cart objects in there. Okay. Cool. All right, so now this is going to be null, but we know that we're going to update this to then send it to the cart. So let's go ahead and just pass it to the cart now. So I'm just going to call it shopping cart because it makes sense. And then I'm passing the shopping cart state, right? So I'm passing this here, and this is the prop name that I'm going to grab. This didn't have to be shopping cart. It could have been just cart or scart or whatever you wanted. But in cart now, so if I go into cart, when I do props, console.log, props.shopping cart, right? Because that's what I'm sending it in as, right here, shopping cart. Okay, cool. So now, if there was anything in there, it would show up, which there's nothing in there. But let's say we initialize this with just a string like Taco Bell, right? Then if we look in our shopping cart, we should see nothing at all, because let's go to our cart. Why do I still have this little cart? JSX. That's annoying. That's fine. Okay. Let's close it and reopen it. There we go. That's better. Okay, cool. Let me give it a little tag here. Props.shopping cart. Okay. And then we're not showing, so we're looping through shopping cart, which right now there's not a shop cart.id item, all that stuff, so it's not going to show. But if we were just to do like, let's just say right above here, we just wanted to show it, we could just do shopping cart. As long as it's not an object. If it's an object, then this will not work and it'll yell at you, and you won't be able to show anything. Shopping cart's not going to work because I didn't do props. Props.shopping cart, because that's what we're bringing in, right? Props.shopping cart. So now we should see nothing again. Let's see, where am I putting that at? Let's just get that guy right there. And, oh, you know what, I don't think, oh, I'm not running, am I? No, I'm running. Let's see. There we go. Okay, just had to rerun it. So that's showing you that it is getting those props, right? Obviously, that's not what we want, this specifically, but we're getting data there, so that's fantastic. Cool. So go ahead and get rid of that, because we definitely don't want to just show that. We'll bring these guys back. And all right, we're going to console log what we're getting in there. We're going to go back to our home, and we're going to change this back to an array so that we can fill our own up. All right, so in order to fill up that array, we need for when our menu item add to shopping cart or add to cart gets clicked, we need to pass that item or that ID all the way back here so we can then update our shopping cart. Okay, so thinking about that, we're going to need a function that's going to update our shopping cart. So let's go ahead and make a function. You can make it one of two ways. You can just do function, if you can spell function, and give it the name. So let's call it, it's going to be update shopping cart. Look at there, I already knew. Got to give it your parentheses, so it'll be a function, and then your curly brackets, so you can tell what to do inside there. Or you can do it the ES6 way, and you're going to use const update shopping cart equals parentheses equals fat arrow, and then your stuff. Either one of these is fine. This one is the more modern one, and it has some intricacies with the this keyword, which I'm not sure is really used that much in functional programming. But this one is fine too. So I would just stick with the function one for now, and get used to writing functions like that. So you know it's got to have parentheses, it's got to have the curly brackets. Cool. So in here, what do we want to do? I'm going to put a comment. We want to get the clicked item and add to shopping cart array. That's what we want to do. Cool. So we know we're going to be taking something in here. So for now, I'll just put item, could be ID. We'll see when we get to the other end. And then when we get that, we want to update the shopping cart, which we do with the set shopping cart. So we're going to do set shopping cart, and we're going to do something a little funky here. We're going to do a spread operator, so that since this is an array, we're going to use the array syntax and do a dot, 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 and then our state, so shopping cart, and then comma, and then what we actually want to add to it. So item, in this case. So the reason we have to do that is because if you just were to do set shopping cart item, then it's going to replace everything you had in there with just the item. So it's no longer going to be an array. It's going to be just an object with those key value pairs for the item in it. Most of the time, I would say, like you're just replacing stuff because you only need to know the current state or whatever. But a lot of the time, you'll also just need to update it as opposed to completely overwriting it. So you would do something like this. So the spread just tells it, don't replace this, just add to it. Okay, it shows a more technical definition, but that's fine. Cool. So this is what we want. Let's go ahead and console log the item so we can know what we're getting. I'm going to say item and update shopping carts. Okay. All right, cool. So where do we want to call this at? Well, we need to call it eventually or initially in the menu item. So when, and I already have it here, so I cheated. When this menu item, so let's go back here. When this add to cart gets clicked in this menu item, because remember, this is the menu item component right here. This is the menu component. This is the home component. And then remember, the shopping cart component's floating around. You can't see it. So when this gets clicked in the menu item component, so all the way down here in menu item, when we click our button, our add to cart button, we want our update shopping cart to pass that item on up. So we need to get this function down here so that we can then call it and trigger it and pass this stuff back up. So in order to do that, we need to pass it as props. So it's going to go down to our menu, and then it's going to go down to our menu item. So let's go ahead and I'll just call it the same name that it already is and pass it on in. Okay. So this is the key. So props.this is what we're going to use on down the road. This is the function that's actually going to be called when we get here. Okay. Let me look real quick at something here. Oh yeah, I can do the E, I think. Okay. All right. So we're going to go down to our menu now. I'm just going to copy this real quick. So our menu is going to take in props, and the props going to take in is that function. And so our menu item then is going to take in that function as props. And so here we're going to have to say props dot and then that menu or that function that we're passing on down. Okay. And again, if you wanted to destructure up here, you could, and you could just make item. So you would just do it like this. You would do item and then update shopping cart, and then you could just use these directly. Oh, I'm sorry, that's fake menu items, not that one. So you could then use this directly without props here, but we're just gonna stick to the props way today. Okay. Cool. So now every time a menu item gets made, it's going to have this prop on it. Okay. So we can jump on down to our menu item, which is already accepting props, and we're already using it right here. Okay. And so we are passing props.item. So this is going to be the item, like the whole object, right? Because I think we see that here. Let's step it over. Yeah, so this is each item in our prop is that object with the ID, image, item, and price. Okay, and this is what we want to put in our shopping cart so we have access to the item and the price, so we can display those, and then obviously charge them and everything else. Cool. Okay. All right. So now we're in our menu item. We're getting our props passed, so we have access to this function that started way back in home. and then we're going to pass props item to it, so all the way back up. So if we go back, so we're going from menu item back to menu. So this it's going to keep bubbling up from this function, okay? And then on back to home. Then when we get here, we're actually going to call the initial function and see the item. I'm going to comment out the state real quick, and I just want to see if we can see which item we click on. Okay, so let's go back here. I'm going to go and refresh, and then clear this, and then when we click it, bam, look at that. That's the item we clicked on, right? Click it again, espresso. Click it again, oh, click the button again, cappuccino. So you can see this is in home JS X11, okay? And that is right where our console log is. So we know that our item is getting all the way back up here, ready to get put in our shopping cart. So I'm gonna go ahead and uncomment this. And so there's gonna set that item into our shopping cart, okay? So now, if we go to our cart, we'll be able to see, sorry. So in our home, in our cart here, we're passing the shopping cart prop, right? Which is, again, this guy, okay, which we're updating here. So in our cart, we should be able to see props.shoppingcart. This should be what's being passed into our cart, okay? And let's see. Okay, so let's start fresh. So nothing is in our cart right now. And if we add to cart, it was real fast, but it did log it, I think. I guess I props in cart. Nope, maybe not. Okay, let's go look at our cart. Okay, so it's in our cart. I think the menu, oh, right there. Okay, yeah, I thought I saw it. So right here above where it did everything again, you can see that it shows us what's in our cart, right? So if we come back here and we add espresso, look at our cart, we've got them both, bing bang, and then you can see here, we got them both right here. Cool, rock and roll. So let's see. So we have our cart there, that's good. We have our menu working, that's good. Yeah, I think that is the gist of it. Obviously, there's nothing on this page. You can add stuff if you want to. You can complete this, like actually add stuff up, make sure that like there's not repeat items. So like if I did black coffee twice, it's gonna have black coffee twice. So just do like a ×2 or whatever. You can do that. That'll be fun. You can do the weather, have them like floating around. But I think that's the gist I wanted to get through, just understanding how to display the menu and then understanding how to get stuff in the shopping carts. Cool. Hope that's helpful.